Chosen one. True healing cannot fully begin until you recognize this truth about your mother. For far too long, you have carried an invisible burden, and without understanding its roots, you may continue carrying it without realizing why peace always seems just out of reach. These words are reaching you now because you have arrived at a defining moment, one where healing can finally move forward instead of remaining trapped. The truth is not complicated, but it carries great weight. It reaches the places within you that have been hidden behind silence, denial, or old pain. Lasting healing begins when you see your mother not only through the role she played in your life, but also as a person with her own story, long before you were ever born. This is not about assigning blame or excusing what happened. It is about seeing the whole picture so your heart can finally let go of what it has been holding for so many years. Type Amen if you are ready to embrace the truth. For a long time, you may have tried to heal by looking only at your own wounds, yet healing becomes deeper when you begin to understand the pain that shaped the person who wounded you. Your mother was more than the one who raised you. She was someone carrying her own fears, disappointments, unanswered longings, and emotional scars. Many of the struggles that touched your life did not begin with you. They were passed forward because she never learned how to break the cycle herself. The moment you begin to see her not only as the one who caused your pain, but also as someone who carried pain of her own, something within you starts to soften. A burden that once felt impossible to move begins to lift. That new understanding becomes the key to a door you have unknowingly been trying to open for years. A profound change is beginning within you, and it has the power to transform the way you understand your past and the path that lies ahead. You are not being asked to deny your pain, and you are not being asked to pretend everything was okay. You are being guided to see the full picture because truth brings freedom, and partial truth keeps you trapped. When you only see your hurt, your heart stays tied to it. But when you see the full story, your heart begins to rise above it. That is where healing starts to breathe again. If this is touching your heart right now, gently like this video so more souls can receive this kind of healing. Many of you have been carrying silent anger, confusion, or emptiness without even realizing it. You learn to survive by pushing your feelings down, by telling yourself to move on, by trying to become stronger than your pain. But buried pain does not disappear. It waits. And it shows up in your life in ways you cannot always recognize. It shows up in your relationships, in your fears, in your reactions, and even in the way you see yourself. You have been trying to fix the surface, but I am guiding you to the root. Your mother's love may have been imperfect, inconsistent, or even absent at times, and that left marks on your heart. Those marks are not signs that you are broken. They are signs that something in your story needs to be understood and released. You have been asking why certain patterns keep repeating, why certain emotions feel so strong, and why some wounds never seem to fully close. The answer is not in running away from the past, but in understanding it with clarity and compassion. Type 777 if you trust God's healing process. Listen carefully now, because this is where many people turn away and miss their breakthrough. Understanding your mother does not mean excusing what hurt you. It means freeing yourself from being chained to it. When you hold on to anger or confusion, your energy stays tied to the very thing you want to escape. But when you understand, you begin to release, and when you release, you begin to heal. This is not weakness. This is strength guided by truth. There are things your mother never learned, and because she never learned them, she could not give them to you. This is not your fault, and it is not something you need to carry any longer. You were a child looking for safety, love, and understanding, and when those needs were not met in the way you needed, your heart created its own ways to cope. Those ways helped you survive, but now they may be holding you back from living fully. I am bringing this to your awareness, not to reopen wounds, but to finally close them in the right way. Healing is not about pretending nothing happened. It is about seeing clearly, feeling honestly, and then choosing to release what no longer belongs to you. You are not meant to carry the weight of your mother's unfinished story. You are meant to live your own story with freedom, peace, and clarity. There is a reason you are hearing this now. At this exact moment in your life, you have reached a point where you are ready to see deeper and to heal in a way that goes beyond surface fixes. You are not the same person you were before, and your soul is ready to step into a new level of understanding. This is where cycles begin to break, and where generational patterns lose their power over you. You may feel emotions rising as you listen, and that is not something to fear. That is your heart responding to truth, and it is part of your healing. Allow yourself to feel without judgment, without rushing to push it away. What you are feeling is not here to harm you. It is here to be released, so you can finally move forward. Is it really possible to attract money more naturally using a 7-second ritual? Research connected to the CIA suggests certain brainwave states influence how opportunities appear in your life. This technique, proven by 4 neuroscience labs, is helping people shift away from financial pressure toward improved lifestyles. Many are now stepping into dream homes, driving luxury cars, and enjoying luxury vacations. But this information may not remain online for long. Click the link in the description and comments before it disappears. Your story does not end with what you experienced. It continues with what you choose to do with it. You are not defined by the pain you went through. You are shaped by the strength you gain when you face it and transform it. I am with you in this process, guiding you, strengthening you, and reminding you that you are not alone. When your mother could not give you what you needed, your heart did not understand why. It only understood that something was missing. That missing piece became a quiet space inside you, one that you tried to fill in different ways as you grew. Type 1111 if you are open to deep healing. There were moments when you needed comfort, but received silence. Moments when you needed understanding, but felt misunderstood. And moments when you needed warmth, but felt distance instead. These moments may seem small when looked at individually, but together they created a pattern inside you. That pattern shaped how you respond to love, how you trust others, and how you see your own worth. You may have blamed yourself without realizing it, thinking that if you were different, things would have been better. But the truth is, you were always worthy, even when you were not treated that way. Your mother's actions were often a reflection of what she carried, not a reflection of your value. If she was distant, it may have been because she was never shown how to be emotionally present. If she was critical, it may have been because she grew up in an environment where love was expressed through pressure instead of care. If she was absent, it may have been because she was overwhelmed by her own pain. These are not excuses. They are explanations that help you understand where the patterns began. You have been holding on to questions that never received clear answers, and that lack of closure has kept your heart searching. But closure does not always come from another person. Sometimes it comes from understanding what they could not give. When you accept that your mother gave you what she knew how to give, even if it was not enough, you begin to release the expectation that she should have been different. This release is not about lowering your standards. It is about freeing your heart from waiting for something that cannot be changed. There is a quiet grief inside you, one that may not always be visible, but is deeply felt. It is the grief of not what your heart needed during its most vulnerable moments. This grief deserves to be acknowledged, not ignored or pushed aside. When you allow yourself to feel it without shame or judgment, it begins to soften. That softness is where healing starts to grow. Type 2222 to receive peace in your heart. You are not weak for feeling this. You are human, and your emotions are valid. Many people carry similar wounds, but hide them behind strength or silence. You are being invited to face them with honesty and courage, because that is where true transformation happens. You are not meant to stay in a place of pain. You are meant to move through it and come out stronger. As you continue this journey, you will start to notice changes in the way you think and feel. Situations that once triggered strong reactions may begin to feel lighter. You may find yourself responding with more clarity instead of reacting from old wounds. This is not because the past has changed, but because your understanding of it has deepened. And when understanding grows, emotional weight begins to lift. You are also learning to give yourself what you did not receive before. The love, patience, and kindness that were missing are now things you can choose to offer yourself. This is not something that happens overnight. It is a process that unfolds step by step. Each time you choose self-compassion over self-criticism, you are rewriting a part of your story. Each time you choose to honor your feelings instead of dismissing them, you are building a new foundation within yourself. There may be moments when old feelings resurface, and that is part of the healing process. Healing is not a straight path. It moves in waves, and each wave brings something new to the surface. Instead of resisting these moments, allow them to pass through you. They are not here to pull you back. They are here to be released, so you can move forward more freely. You are also breaking a cycle that may have existed long before you were born. The patterns you are understanding now may have been passed down through generations, repeated without awareness. By choosing to face them, you are not only healing yourself, you are also changing what gets passed on in the future. This is powerful, even if it feels quiet and personal. There is strength in your willingness to see the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Many people avoid this because it requires them to face emotions they would rather ignore. But you are stepping into a deeper level of awareness, and that is something to be honored. You are not running from your story. You are understanding it, so you can rise beyond it. You are also learning that forgiveness is not about saying everything was okay. It is about releasing the hold that the past has on your present. Forgiveness allows you to move forward without carrying the weight of resentment or anger. It is a gift you give yourself, not something you owe to anyone else. There is peace waiting for you on the other side of this understanding. It is a peace that does not depend on anyone else's actions or changes. It comes from within, from the clarity you are gaining and the choices you are making. This peace is steady, and it grows stronger as you continue to heal. What if most people struggle financially because they never activate a specific brainwave? Leading neuroscientists point to CIA-linked research that highlights this missing link This 7-second ritual, backed by 4 neuroscience labs, is helping people rethink their financial habits and improve outcomes. Many are now moving into dream homes, owning luxury cars, and traveling on luxury vacations. But this page might be taken down soon. Click the link in the description and comments before it is removed. You are not alone in this journey. I am with you, guiding you through each step, even when it feels uncertain. You may not always see the progress you are making, but it is happening within you. Every moment of awareness, every step toward understanding, is bringing you closer to the freedom you have been seeking. That expectation keeps a small part of your heart tied to the past, waiting for something that may never come. When your healing depends on someone else's awareness, your peace becomes unstable. I am guiding you toward a kind of healing that no one can take away from you. Type 1010 to receive inner strength. You must understand that your healing is not a conversation you are waiting to have. It is a decision you are choosing to live. There may never be a moment where everything is explained, apologized for, or resolved in the way you imagined. And while that can feel painful, it is also where your freedom begins. Because when you stop waiting for closure from another person, you begin to create it within yourself. That is where your power returns to you. There is a version of you that kept hoping things would be different. That held on to the idea that one day everything would make sense through someone else's words. That version of you was trying to protect your heart, trying to hold on to hope in the only way it knew how. But now you are growing into a deeper understanding, one that does not rely on someone else to complete your healing. You are learning to stand in truth. Even when it is not spoken back to you, you may feel resistance as you hear this. And that is natural. Letting go of expectations can feel like letting go of something important. But what you are actually releasing is not hope. It is attachment to a specific outcome. You are making space for a new kind of peace, one that is not dependent on how others behave or what they say. This peace is steady, and it comes from within you. Type yes to accept your healing journey. There is also something you must gently face, and it is this. The way you were treated shaped the way you learned to treat yourself. If you were often criticized, you may have developed a harsh inner voice. If you were ignored, you may have learned to ignore your own needs. If love felt conditional, you may have learned to believe you had to earn it. These patterns did not come from your true self. They were learned, and because they were learned, they can be unlearned. You are not meant to carry these patterns forward into your future. You are being invited to notice them without judgment and begin to shift them with when you catch yourself speaking to yourself with harshness. Pause and choose a kinder voice. When you feel the urge to dismiss your needs, remind yourself that you are worthy of care. These small changes may seem simple, but they are powerful steps toward healing. Your heart has been waiting for you to show up for it in this way. Not by fixing everything at once, but by choosing moment by moment to respond with awareness instead of old habits. This is how transformation happens, not through sudden change, but through consistent conscious choices, and every choice you make in alignment with truth strengthens you. There is also a layer of forgiveness that goes deeper than what you may have understood before. It is not just about forgiving your mother. It is also about forgiving yourself. You may have judged yourself for how you reacted, for the ways you coped, or for the emotions you carried, but you were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. There is no need to hold guilt for surviving in the only way you knew how. You are allowed to release that guilt now. You are allowed to see yourself with compassion instead of criticism. This is part of your healing, and it is just as important as understanding anyone else. When you soften toward yourself, something inside you begins to relax. That relaxation creates space for peace to grow. There is a quiet strength within you that is beginning to rise, even if you do not fully feel it yet. It is the strength of awareness, the strength of choosing truth, and the strength of letting go. This strength does not need to be loud or forceful. It is steady and grounded. It will carry you through moments of doubt and remind you that you are moving forward even when progress feels slow. You are also learning to separate your identity from your experiences. What happened to you is part of your story, but it is not the definition of who you are. You are more than the pain you felt, more than the patterns you learned, and more than the roles you had to take on. As you continue to heal, you will begin to see yourself more clearly beyond the layers that were shaped by your past. This clarity will change the way you move through your life. You will start to make choices from a place of self-awareness instead of unconscious reaction. You will begin to recognize what truly aligns with you and what does not. And with that recognition, you will have the ability to choose differently. There is no rush in this process. Healing unfolds in its own time, and each step you take matters. You do not need to have everything figured out all at once. What matters is that you are willing to keep going, to keep learning, and to keep choosing growth over avoidance. How are people moving from financial stress to more comfortable lifestyles so quickly? A CIA-linked study suggests a simple 7-second brain ritual may influence how people respond to opportunities, supported by 4 neuroscience labs. This method is helping individuals improve daily life. Many are now stepping into dream homes, upgrading to luxury cars, and taking luxury vacations. But this page could be deleted at any time. Click the link in the description and comments before it disappears. I am with you in every step of this journey. Even in the moments when it feels uncertain, you are not walking this path alone, and you are not expected to do it perfectly. You are simply being guided to understand, to release, and to become free in a way you have never experienced before. But now I need you to see how this understanding changes the way you move forward in your own life. Because healing is not only about looking back, it is also about choosing a new way to live from this moment on. This is the moment when your future begins to move in a different direction from your past. Type 1212. If you choose to walk by faith, you are no longer the child who had no power over the circumstances surrounding your life. Today, you have the ability to decide how you respond, how you grow, and how you create a life that is shaped by truth rather than by old wounds. This transformation is not always comfortable because familiar habits often feel secure, even when they no longer serve you. What feels familiar is not always what is healthy. You are being invited to leave behind limiting patterns and step into the life that has truly been prepared for you. There will be times when old emotions resurface, when a memory or situation suddenly pulls you back toward the past. During those moments, it may seem as though nothing has changed and that you are caught in the same cycle once again. But that feeling is not proof that you have failed. It is another chance to make a different choice. Every time you stop, become aware, and respond with intention instead of reacting from old habits, you weaken the hold those patterns once had over your life. Another important part of your healing is learning to establish healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not barriers designed to shut people out. They are healthy limits that protect your peace, your well-being, and your sense of self. You have every right to decide what you will welcome into your life and what you will no longer accept. You deserve relationships where you feel respected, valued, and emotionally safe. Choosing those boundaries does not make you selfish. It means you are honoring what is true and healthy for your life. Type 222 to declare your breakthrough. For many of you, creating boundaries with your mother may be one of the hardest steps to take. Feelings of guilt, fear, or responsibility may convince you to ignore your own needs. But it is important to remember this truth. Protecting your peace is not an act of rejection. It is an essential part of your healing and growth. Honoring yourself does not mean dishonoring her. You can hold compassion for her story, while also choosing what is healthy for your own life. These two things can exist together, and learning to balance them is part of your growth. There is also a shift happening in the way you understand love. Love is not meant to feel like something you have to earn or chase. It is not meant to come with constant fear or uncertainty. The kind of love you are meant to experience is steady, respectful, and nurturing. As you heal, you will begin to recognize the difference between what feels familiar and what is actually healthy. This awareness will change the relationships you choose and the way you show up in them. You will no longer settle for what drains you or diminishes your worth. You will begin to seek connections that align with your truth, connections that support your growth and bring peace into your life. This is not something you have to force. It will happen naturally as your understanding deepens. There is also something important you must remember as you move forward. Healing does not mean forgetting. And it does not mean pretending the past did not happen. It means carrying your experiences in a way that no longer controls you. It means remembering without being overwhelmed, and understanding without being consumed. This is the balance you are learning to hold. You are also stepping into a new level of responsibility, not for what happened to you, but for what you choose to do with it. You are no longer bound to repeat what you experienced. You have the awareness now to create something different. This is where your power lies. In your ability to choose a new path. There may be moments when you feel tired, when the process feels heavy or slow. In those moments, remember that healing is not a race. It is a journey that unfolds over time. And every step you take matters. Even the moments that feel small or insignificant are part of something bigger that is happening within you. You are being reshaped in a way that goes beyond what you can currently see. The understanding you are gaining is not only healing your past, it is preparing you for a future that is more aligned with who you truly are. This is why this process matters so much, because it is creating a foundation for everything that comes next. There is also a deep sense of freedom that begins to emerge as you continue on this path. It is the freedom to be yourself without the weight of old expectations. It is the freedom to feel without fear of being overwhelmed. It is the freedom to live in a way that reflects truth instead of survival. I am guiding you through this, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary for the life you are meant to live. You are not meant to stay in a place of confusion or pain. You are meant to rise into clarity, strength, and peace. This is your path, and you are walking it with courage. As you continue, you will begin to notice how your inner world changes. The thoughts that once felt heavy may begin to feel lighter. The emotions that once felt overwhelming may begin to feel more manageable. This is the result of the work you are doing. Even when it does not feel obvious, you are becoming someone who understands deeply, who feels honestly, and who chooses wisely. This is not just healing. This is transformation. And it is leading you into a life that is no longer defined by what you went through, but by what you have become. Why are experts saying this brainwave discovery might soon be removed from the internet? A top neuroscientist has shared CIA-linked findings about a 7-second ritual that may influence financial awareness, verified by 4 neuroscience labs. This technique is helping people move toward improved lifestyles. Many are now living in dream homes, driving luxury cars, and enjoying luxury vacations. But access to this information may not last long. Click the link in the description and comments before it vanishes. Now you are stepping into a place where your healing begins to feel real. Not just something you understand, but something you experience. This is the stage where your heart starts to respond differently, where the weight you carried slowly begins to lift in ways you did not expect. You may notice that certain memories no longer hold the same intensity, and situations that once triggered you begin to lose their grip. This is not because your past has disappeared, but because your connection to it is changing. You are no longer tied to it in the same way. Type 777 if you trust this transformation. There is something powerful happening inside you right now. Even if it feels quiet and slow, you are learning to sit with yourself without running, without distracting, and without denying what you feel. This is something many people never learn, and it is one of the strongest foundations of true healing. When you can be present with your emotions without fear, they begin to lose their power over you. They become something you experience, not something that controls you. You are also beginning to understand that your worth was never defined by how your mother treated you. This is a truth that may take time to fully settle in your heart, but once it does, it changes everything. You were always worthy of love, care, and understanding, even in the moments when you did not receive them. The absence of those things does not mean you were lacking. It means they were not given. And that is a very different truth than what you may have believed before. There is a deep release happening as you begin to separate your identity from your experiences. You are no longer seeing yourself through the lens of what happened to you, but through the truth of who you are. This shift allows you to reclaim parts of yourself that were hidden or suppressed. It allows you to step into a version of yourself that is not limited by the past. Type Amen if you receive your freedom. You may also notice that your relationships begin to change as you continue this journey. The way you connect with others may feel different, and the things you once tolerated may no longer feel acceptable. This is not something to fear. It is a natural part of growth. As you heal, your standards begin to align with your truth, and this creates space for healthier connections to enter your life. There may also be moments when you feel a sense of distance or confusion as things begin to shift. This is part of the process of letting go of what is familiar and stepping into something new. It can feel uncertain at times, but that uncertainty is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are moving beyond what you have always known. You are also learning to trust yourself in a way that you may not have before. When you were younger, you may have doubted your feelings or questioned your experiences. You may have been told that what you felt was not valid or that you were overreacting. But now you are reconnecting with your own truth. You are learning to listen to yourself and to honor what you feel. This trust is something that will continue to grow as you move forward. The more you listen to yourself, the clearer your inner voice becomes. And the clearer that voice becomes, the more confident you feel in your choices. This is part of the strength you are building, a strength that comes from within, not from outside validation. There is also a sense of peace that begins to settle in Broko. even in moments that would have once felt overwhelming. This peace is not dependent on everything being perfect. It comes from the understanding you are gaining. It comes from knowing that you are no longer trapped in the same patterns and that you have the ability to respond differently. You are also beginning to see your mother in a new light. Not as someone who defined your life, but as someone who was part of your story. This shift may feel subtle at first, but it is powerful. It allows you to hold your experiences without being consumed by them. It allows you to remember without being pulled back into the same emotions. This does not mean that everything is suddenly easy or that all pain disappears. Healing is not about removing every difficult feeling. It is about changing your relationship with those feelings. It is about creating space between you and the pain so that it no longer controls you. There is also something important you are learning about love. Love is not meant to feel like something that hurts you or diminishes your sense of self. It is meant to support you, to uplift you, and to bring a sense of peace into your life. As you heal, you begin to recognize this more clearly, and you become less willing to accept anything that does not align with it. You are entering a season where you can finally offer yourself the love, care, and reassurance you once longed to receive. This is one of the greatest breakthroughs in healing because your attention begins to move away from what was absent and toward what you now have the power to build. You are no longer waiting for someone else to complete what felt empty. Instead, you are learning to nurture yourself with kindness, patience, and genuine compassion. This does not mean you will stop valuing meaningful relationships or the support of others. It simply means your sense of worth no longer depends entirely on someone else. You are creating a solid foundation within yourself, one strong enough to keep you steady regardless of the circumstances surrounding you. Have you heard about the small group of neuroscientists studying brainwave patterns connected to financial success, according to a leading researcher? The project was inspired by CIA-related studies that were never originally intended for public release. Their findings led to a simple 7-second practice, supported by 4 neuroscience laboratories, that many people are now using from home. Countless individuals who once struggled financially say they are now living in beautiful homes, driving luxury vehicles, and enjoying the vacations they once believed were impossible. This information may not remain available for long, so be sure to visit the link in the description and comments before it disappears. I am sharing this with you because your future is not defined by the pain you have survived. There is a version of you that already exists beyond the hurt, a version that lives with freedom, inner peace, and the ability to experience healthy, genuine love. You are not becoming someone completely different. Through healing, you are simply uncovering the person you were always meant to be. Remain committed to this journey. Even when progress feels slow or difficult to recognize, the changes taking place inside you are real. Even if they are not always immediately visible, every step forward is leading you toward a life far greater than you can currently imagine. This is about more than recovering from the past. It is about becoming whole. And that transformation will continue revealing itself with every step you take.